everybody? It's your boy Coach T with Chicago Bears 360, back with another live video for you. We're live. We're back after a little bit of a break, man, a hiatus, transitioning jobs, taking interviews, finally accepted a position. Your boy's tax bracket then changed. That's all I'm going to say about that. It's just been a crazy last 2 weeks, man. But I'm indeed grateful and thankful for all the blessings that's coming to me and my family, man. And my family, my Chicago Bears family, man. Shout out to you guys, man, for keeping the videos going. The subscriptions up, man. We had a lot of people join the channel, join the family in the last week and a half, even though I haven't done a live in about a week. It's been about a week. It seemed like a long time for me, man. So we're going to give a quick shout out to them folks, man. Let me do my homework right here. Let me do some house cleaning, some house maintenance. Y'all know what the deal is, man. We got these Larry Borum 8 All-22 coming up, right? We're going to talk about these free agent signings. We're going to get back and do some house cleaning, and we're going to jump into the show, man. Like I said, man, thanks for joining. Let's get into it, man. Where you at, Maestro? Cue the music.
Welcome to Chicago Bears 360. Keeping it a buck with Coach T. Contra.
Life like chess, move to pieces, you know I roll in silence. On the road to them Benjis, I fill my teeth with diamonds. I'm high as fuck in the sky, you would've thought I'm pilot. I'm from Chicago, it get ugly, fill the streets with violence. Life like chess, move to pieces, you know I roll in silence.
Past, present, future. We bear down.
If you're in the comments right now, do me a favor, man. Run those likes up. Let's get this comment section bussing. Let's get the algorithm bussing so we can talk Chicago Bears football, right? We got the Larry Borum All-22 for you today. We're going to talk about these recent free agent signings, right? We're going to talk about a little bit of these guys. We're going to talk. We can debate. We can talk. Whatever you guys want to do, right? But at the end of the day, y'all know our niche on this show is I'm going to always break it down and make it about the X's and O's, right? And why philosophically and why when you start talking about X's and O's, football, strategy, and so on and so forth, why a lot of these takes make sense or they do not make sense, right? So to me, it's not an emotional thing, man. It's not conjecture, right? If it makes sense, X's and O's wise, we can talk about it. If it doesn't, then I'll let you debate with yourself, man. But so again, if you're in the comments section, do me a favor, run those likes up, subscribes up. Shout out to my boy, Swifty Sports Network. Him and his channel, the great work he's doing over there, man. We're going to have Swifty on the show pretty soon. We're going to be teaming up and collabing on some efforts, man. The great research work he does on his channel, man. Y'all been asking for it. Coach T, when you going to have somebody else on the show, man? Well, guess what, man? I'm particular about who I have on the show. A lot of work goes into this, right? And again, we want to separate ourselves as Chicago Bears 360 from the other channels, man. So I was waiting to see somebody that was out there doing the work, doing the research, that's willing to put the work in. Because at the end of the day, we ask that of our players, we ask that of our teams, right? If we're going to ask that of our teams, if we're going to be social media personalities and football, quote unquote, experts, bro, why not have the guys that put the work in bring you the content, man? We are not the beat writers. I'm finna have a soapbox moment right here. The DIY Bears channels, we have to separate ourselves from the beat writers, the drunk uncles, if you will, right? That's out there just making stuff up because they're not doing the work. They're not doing the research. They don't know football, right? So why not have a guy like Swifty Sports on that's doing the research, that has the stats, right? That's going to go in the background and dive deep And then you can have your boy Coach T, bro. I can put the X's and O's together for you in my sleep. I can take you inside the mind of the offensive and defensive coordinator. I know about 3, 5, 7, 9 techniques, right? I know gap power. I know zone, right? I know passing concepts. I have cover 2, 3, cover 2 beaters. I have cover 3 beaters. I have a big old binder upstairs of plays and dictionary of things. I could take you through putting together offense right now. But I ain't gonna do that to you today, man. We talking Larry Borum, bro. We talking free agent signings, man. Let's do this real fast, man. Do me a favor again. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Again, this is a live show, bro. So we're gonna make mistakes and we're gonna edit it out later on. I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm not putting that pressure on myself. And I'm not putting that pressure on y'all, man. So let's get into this homework. Let's shout out our real fast. Y'all know what we doing, man. And shout out to the ones that already exist. But my field soldiers, man. Shout out to you guys, bro. My recent soldiers, man, that subscribe to the channel. We got to do it like this. Man, like I said, all the production is coming from Coach T live on the air. All that switching out of the screens. Y'all see that, bro. I'm doing that live, man. After a week off. My boy R99M. Shout out to you, man. Welcome to the Field Soldiers. Kelly Harris. Johnny Warren. My friend Shirley Sternback. Me and Shirley serve on the HOA board together in our community, by the way. I'm the vice president. Shout out to me for volunteering my time. Anyway, soapbox moment, man. My friends support me, bro. Alani 3276, Joe Florent, Jeremy Kramer, Oheen, Waif, and I think Hoodie Metal already called out on the previous show. Listen, man, I told y'all what the deal is over here, Chicago Bears 360. Listen, I would love to have 50 million subscribers, subscribe a day and all that good stuff. But I realize this is a different type of show, bro. This is X's and O's, right? If you want to debate, y'all want to, you know what I'm saying, fight in the comments, we can do that too, right? But we going to make it about these X's and O's, man. We're going to make it about these X's and O's, bro. Conjecture, I feel like we have enough of that on Bears Twitter, Bears YouTube, Bears Facebook, Bears Instagram. We have enough conjecture, right? Guessing, farting in the wind, and having it blowing back in our face, all that good stuff. What about the facts, right? If we start with the facts and what we know, and then we build upon that, right? Then I feel like we give ourselves an idea of what to expect as fans. Or we calm a little bit of the anxiety that some of you guys have around Bears football, right? Some of y'all just need counseling. Some of y'all just got Bears PTSD, right? You've been fans for 30 years. You've experienced bad things. Hey, I was there. I was a kid, 1985. Watched every game with my dad. I wanted to see us win 50 million Bears Super Bowls after that. But still, I'm not so heavily invested in it, man, emotionally invested in it, that I can't see straight, right? I still break it around and make it about the X's and O's, man. Let's get into these free agent signings, man. Let's go with our first guy. Again, man, shout out to my guy, Swifty, bro. He did a great job of breaking this down. Go over his channel and check it out if you want to go in a deep dive. I'm going to make it about the X's and O's and talk about these free agent signings, real high view, 50,000-foot view, man. Your boy Tavon Young, we signed the cornerback. We signed a cornerback on a one-year deal, man. I think this is an excellent signing, right? If you go back to my last videos and what I told you guys and what popped in my head about the philosophy of this team, because I wasn't understanding too. I got to admit, I'm human. I'm a fan, right? When I think about the Bears, I think about the Bears as a Bears fan first. And then the coaching hat comes on. That's how I ended up making a channel. Because I was like, damn, bro, I coach football, right? I know what's happening on the field. Let me connect the dots here. Tavon Young, man, great signing. Now, at one point, Tavon was the highest paid, right, nickel slot type corner, highest paid nickel type slot corner in the NFL. I believe the Ravens made him such, right? That speaks volumes at his productivity. Now, I'll admit, I haven't watched a whole lot of film on him, right? Other than scanning a few other channels and seeing, what they're saying about him. I haven't watched a whole lot of film on him, right? But the film I have watched on him, he's a player, right? Fast, physical. This is the type of player that Ryan Poles and gang are signing, right? And if you go back and watch my last video, you're gonna see something, the philosophy that I think that we're going to. The philosophy is one that I've lauded for a long time. And Ren, if I ask myself, if I would become a GM one day, what would I do as a GM? I would do exactly what we're doing. I would want a system, right? Let me take a step back. For long-term sustained success, you have to develop a system, right, that acts as a funnel, right? If the end result is success, Super Bowl championship, Super Bowl contention, right? You have to develop a system that acts like a funnel that's going to funnel your franchise towards success. That system is the coaching staff. The coaching staff, the alignments, the defensive alignments that we're going to put in place. So we're going to go with a 4-3 defense. We all know that, right? And I'm going to talk about a little bit of terminology today too, because it's something that y'all doing out on Bears Twitter that always tweaks me, gets on my nerves. You guys, my followers know what this is, the terminology. But listen, we're drafting guys like Tavon here that fit a system. The philosophy is this. You draft a guy that fits a specific skill set, right? They have one or two things that they do great. Think Bill Belichick. Think Ted Thompson. I know a lot of y'all got on me for saying Phillips, my last video. My bad on that. Brain cramp. Right? Think Ted, Ron Wolf, Ted Thompson, Bill Belichick. Championship franchises draft guys that do a specific job. One or two things within the defense or offense they do well, right? In order to fit that system. If you follow this channel any significant amount of time, you know the quote that I always mention that Sean McVay said about there's only about 6 to 8 guys on any team that can traverse NFL systems, meaning they're system agnostic. They're guys that they're plug and play. I can move you from team to team, and no matter what the system is, you can play in that system. Guys like Tyreek Hill, right? Certain quarterbacks. I'm going to give you an example of a quarterback that's not system agnostic. Tom Brady is not system agnostic. Move Tom Brady out of the system that he's mastered over the last 20 plus years, and he would be a bum. Controversial statement, I know. But he's a system guy, right? Belichick specialized in New England of developing a system, and then they could draft guys and pull them into that funnel and get a particular outcome from the players they got. Ted Thompson, as much as we hated Green Bay, he did it for the longest up in Green Bay. Think about all the guys that went up to Green Bay that you didn't know their names, and then all of a sudden they became a dude in the NFL. They became all-pro. They became somebody in the NFL. But you didn't know about them coming out of the draft, right? That's when you develop a system, drafting guys into a system, giving them a specific job to do, and letting them do that job. This guy right here, Tavon Young, is one of those guys, right? He's going to be fast, physical, going to play in the slot, right? Maybe. I think he has a good chance at competing at an outside position. Yes, I like Thomas Graham Jr. in a cover 2 or even number coverage scheme. Y'all go back and watch one of my old videos. All the debate, conjuncture about Thomas Graham Jr. I know y'all were mad at Matt Nagy and Ryan Poles for not playing them earlier. I explained to y'all why players don't get live reps in practice during the season. If you don't make it in training camp, you're not getting on the field. We don't have time to be trying out players during the season, right? I can't, as a coach on the field in practice, I can't afford to have a cornerback going at 100% 100% reps in practice and hurt one of my star players. So you're just still standing in a gap as a practice squad player, giving people looks. You're not going 100%. So if you don't make the roster in training camp, then you're not going to make it. So I know y'all were mad at Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy because they didn't play Thomas Graham Jr. I understood it. I didn't get mad. Practice squad players don't get reps. They don't get full-time reps. They get to stand there, right, with another colored jersey on and act like the other defense. This guy right here, he's going to get an opportunity to compete, right, for the CB2 slot. I wouldn't be surprised. Right, if they give him a shot. Because right now it's still up in the air. But I still like Thomas Graham Jr. to potentially step in. I also like us to go get another guy. If we don't get a guy in the draft, which I would do with 39 and 48, picks 39 and 48, even if we're trading down, we still have some good players, 50 through 100 that we can get. Get us a cornerback that can come in and play. We can get a wide receiver in those picks too. Make these guys compete. I believe this staff has identified specific guys in the draft that can do specific things. I just pointed out an example like Thomas Graham Jr. You don't need a world beater at cornerback. Listen to me, because I've seen it on Twitter already this morning. Right? When you have a system that you're drafting guys into, you don't have to have a bunch of first and second round picks, right? You can get guys at the third, fourth, and fifth round because you only want them to do one thing. I'll give you an example, like I just pointed out. Thomas Graham Jr. sucks in cover 1, cover 3 type defenses, right? Odd number coverages, man, cover 3, meaning he's going to be isolated on an island most of the times with no safety help. Right, he's going to have to know how to turn and run and play with his back to the quarterback, right, and defend with his back to the ball in those coverages. If you go back and watch the film, he did not excel in odd number coverage defenses, and that's what Sean Desai wanted to play the majority of the time. Right, he wanted guys that could play in those defenses, right? So Thomas Graham Jr., a guy like that plays even number coverages better. He plays better facing the ball where he can see everything in front of him. He gets to play off, right? He's not going to be the type of press guy. That's perfect for a Tampa 2 defense, right? Where he's going to have a lot of over-the-top help, right? 2 high safety looks. The expectation is the front 7 are going to be able to do their jobs, right, and stop the run. And so we'll be able to play a lot of man, cover 2 man, and cover 2 zone, and he'll have a guy behind him that can help out, right? So he'll be able to make plays both in the run game and the pass game. He'll have, in cover 2 zone, he'll be able to come up and make big plays in the pass and the running game. He'll be able to make big hits and all that good stuff, and just fly around the ball. It's a different system. So when you're drafting guys for a system like that, you don't have to have a first and second rounder all the time. Find me a corner, picks 50 through 100, that can play Tampa 2, cover 2 man, or cover 2 zone well, and play it, be great at it, and we're off to the races. Bears fans are frustrated on Bears Twitter because they want world beaters. They want us to sign all these big names for what? Do they fit the system? Soapbox moment over. I know. I spent too much time on that. Listen, I've been away from you guys for a while, so I'm I got to get back in it, man. All right, who's our next guy, man? Who's our next guy? We signed a tight end, Ryan Griffin. Again, listen, man. Ryan Griffin, 6'6", about 250, 260, right? He's going to be a wide type tight end, inline blocker, on the line of scrimmage, in line, right? If we can't get it together in pass pro, you're going to see him help with pass protection. You're going to see him in run formations, right? 12 and 13 personnel. I don't expect a guy like Ryan to get a lot of passes thrown his way. We go 12 and 13 personnel. We go heavy personnel. He'll get some playing time. He'll get some tick. Big body guy, right? Tight end depth, but inline blocker for the most part. Nothing crazy, right? But he's being signed to do a specific job, right? So if you're developing the offense, you want to go multiple formations, multiple personnel, short yardage. You gotta have big body tight ends. You gotta have multiple guys that can block in line. So if I want to put Cole Kmet on the line of scrimmage along with Ryan, right, and then I still bring in a U-type tight end in Jesper. I think Jesse's gone, right? A pass catching guy that can still force linebackers to come into coverage and be in coverage. Then I can go with that personnel grouping. Thinking about developing formation, think about having multiple formations. You need to have formations for everything, right? You need to be able to go empty, right? You need to be able to go loose spread gun, right? 2x2s, right? With 11 and 12 personnel, right? You need to go. You need to be able to go single back formations, one tight end, 11 personnel. You need to be able to do all that. You need to go with power. Although Nagy hated it, but I loathe that they didn't install those formations. You need to have power in pro formations. You need to be able to do that, and you need multiple guys to be able to do that. You need tight ends, right, to be able to do it. So Ryan's just add some depth in blocking to me. He's not going to light up the stat sheet. But again, drafting guys to do a specific job. On to the next guy. It's not a lot to see there. Matt Adams, right? Big, bulky, 6 foot, 6'2", 205, 210-pound linebacker that can run. Sam type guy. Sam linebacker. Again, we're signing fast guys that can do specific jobs within the run scheme, right? What does your Sam do in a 3-4 defense? Your Sam linebacker, and a lot of people probably don't make this comparison, your Sam linebacker is like the fullback for your defense. What do you mean by that, Coach? He's like the fullback for your defense. He's your battering ram. Think about formations, right? If you've been following the channel for any significant amount of time, you know I talk about formations. I talk about the strength of formations, right? Because football is played with 11 men on each side of the ball, one side of the ball is typically imbalanced, meaning you're going to have 6 to one side, 5 to the other, right? The strong side of the formation, the strong side linebacker is going to be that battering ram. Meaning, if he's lining up on the strong side of the formation, if the play goes to the strong side and they have a lead blocker going to the strong side on a run, a fullback, a tight end, and they're leading for the running back, you need somebody to take that lead blocker out. You need somebody to keep that lead blocker and establish the point of contact, right? The point of battle, if you will, where the battle lines are drawn. So that Sam linebacker is going to come in there and take that lead blocker out, whether it be the fullback or the tight end. I've heard people say that the will linebacker is the most important position in a 4-3 defense. I don't necessarily agree that it's the most important defense position. He just makes the plays. The will linebacker gets to clean up the mess that the Sam and the Mike don't get. They don't take out. So if the Sam linebacker is like the fullback of the defense, he's meeting that fullback, the tight end, in the hole, right? He's taking out your lead blockers, right? The Mike comes along. He's like a gap filler, right? He fills in his gap. So the Sam established the point of attack, right, or the point of conflict. the Mike comes in, he fills his gap, and the wheel comes along and he takes out any cutback lanes. So a lot of times it's the Mike and the wheel that end up making the plays. So I wouldn't explain it as Will is the most important. He just gets the shine in this scheme, right? In this alignment, in this formation. Now, if it was a 3-4 defense, it would probably be that strong side linebacker, right? The one that plays in the defensive line type of position. It would be that strong side linebacker. It'd be the first two guys that get to make that, establish the point of conflict, right? And the other two guys will be your cleanup guys. It's just a different system. It's a different way of explaining it so you can visualize it, right? How it happens on the field. This is your battering ram. And so he needs to be a bigger, bulkier guy, a little bit muscle on him, a little bit more bulky, right? Real violent, because he's not going to get a whole lot of shine like fullbacks don't on offense, right? That's it right there. So we're gonna have a guy. Again, I'm gonna start talking about more about the specific roles that these guys are doing, right? I hope that makes sense to you. Yeah, and he has to have sideline to sideline speed. But then also keeping in mind, right? I'll say this, right? Because Swifty makes a good point. He has to have that sideline to sideline speed. But also, again, think about how I'm thinking about how I call plays, right? So a lot of times if I'm calling plays, I want to take advantage of the boundary in the field, right? The boundary in the field. So if we're talking football, the boundary is the shortest distance from, say, the hash mark to the sideline. The short side of the field is the boundary. The field is the wide side, right? And a lot of times offensive coordinators, they get in the habit. I know I have this habit sometimes that I have to self-scout myself when I'm calling plays. I like to run the ball a lot of times. If I'm going to run it, I'm going to run the ball to the field, meaning I'm going to run the ball to the wide side, right? So a lot of times, you got to have that versatility, especially versus zone scheme teams, right? Teams that run a lot of zone, you got to have a guy that could run to get to that edge, set that edge. If I'm running the ball to the field, you got to have a Sam that can get to the field, set that edge real fast so the other guys can come in and do the cleanup work. That's what it is. I hope you guys can visualize that. But that's what it is. Next guy, Dr. Dane Cruikshank. Again, another guy that's brought in to do a specific job. I'm not getting into, height, weight, all that other stuff. He's a big guy for a safety, big sturdy guy, big hitter, man. I always said this about our defense, whether we were in a 3-4 or 4-3, we need an eraser. We needed an eraser. And we know Eddie's not that guy. Eddie's not that guy. We needed a guy that's similar to the greats that played in the 4-3 defense that could lay the wood. If you come across the middle, whether you're a tight end or whether you're a wide receiver, whether you're a running back, you come across the middle, we needed a guy that'll smack you, that lets you know it's not safe to come across the middle. But we also needed a guy that could man up versus tight ends, right? He's fast enough to run with running backs and wide receivers, but he's big enough and fast enough that he can run with tight ends and cover. This is that guy. He can cover tight ends. He specializes in covering tight ends, but he's also a big hitter. So he's an eraser. He's going to take whatever you try to do. If we're in zone coverage, we're in cover 2 zone, right? We cover 2 zone. If I'm running a drag concept in front of the linebackers, I'm gonna pull the linebackers up. So one of my cover 2 beaters is I'm gonna do a drag in front of the linebackers to pull that center linebacker, that middle linebacker up and force him to come up. And then I'm gonna try and go over the middle third of the field over the top of his head with a post route. You need a safety that's gonna come up and be a big hitter and smack him. All right, this is, I'm telling you right now, bro, I'm going to warn this is the warning for, and I hate saying Bears fans because we're all Bears fans, right? Y'all make Bears fans out to be an insult, but we're all Bears fans. But if you're a casual fan, these type of signings are going to make upset you because it's something we're not used to, and I had to kind of change my mindset too. We're used to being like other fans teams, and we want the big name guy. But again, think as much as we don't want to. I'll tell you what. Just think New England. Name me 10 players outside of the top 3 players on their team. Name me any guy. Right? Name me any guy. Name me who's the star. That's the type of team we're building. That's the type of culture we're building. Yeah, so Dane Cruikshank is not the superstar, but he does a specific job. That's what we're talking about, man. All right, soapbox over. Y'all get the deal. Look at this guy to man up with tight ends, stay back in his zone and cover 2 zone and smack people. That's all you're going to get. It's not sexy, but it's going to be effective. All right, man. Last but not least, man, we signed a quarterback. I don't want to talk about him too much because I don't want to see him see the field. Northwestern grad, local guy. He did his thing, fan favorite. Now listen, all the bandwagon Bears fans and critics or the organization, I know this is gonna be y'all guy. As soon as Justin makes a mistake or struggles a little bit, I know y'all gonna be screaming, call him a bust, and y'all gonna be screaming and ask for Trevor Siemian to come in the game. Because you know everybody's favorite quarterback on the team is always the backup. But listen, 6'3", 210, 215, has a good arm, man. He's played in a good system in the Saints organization, right? That ball control system, multiple offense. And think about this again. If we're talking about we're drafting or signing guys that do a specific jobs, I don't think our GM and coaching staff are doing anything by circumstance or happenstance. Go take a look at the Trevor Siemian tape. Think about the Saints offense, right? It's multiple formation, multiple sets, a lot of pass catching out of the backfield from the running backs, right? A lot of straight inline blocking, right? Not a whole, if you think about the Saints, even in the run game, right? They don't do a whole lot of zone stuff. They do a lot of gap power stuff, pulling guards, pulling tackles, that good stuff. Quarterbacks on the move, right? A lot of tackling the middle third of the field with running backs and tight ends. A lot of West Coast concepts. This is the kind of stuff you're going to get. So if you think even about the backup quarterback, he's a systems guy. So what is our system? I'm expecting us to be gap power in the run game. I'm expecting us to be multiple on offense, right? A lot of deep shots because we got a deep ball throwing quarterback, starting quarterback. Justin can get the ball there, right? Deep outer thirds, deep middle thirds, depending on what the defense gives us. If you want to go too high, too high safety, right? To take away our speed on the outside, Mooney and whoever we draft, Pickens, Watson, name a guy, Justin Ross, right? Sky Moore. As long as we got 2 guys that can keep the defense honest and force them into too high so David Montgomery can eat in the run game, I'm good with it. So we're going to attack you. We'll attack the middle third of the field. If you go too high, we'll attack the middle third of the field. We'll take everything underneath. In an intermediate game, we'll force you to make a mistake, and we'll run the ball down your throat. We'll run the ball down your throat and force you to make it too high. We'll force you into single high safety. I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted. All right. On with that. Listen. All right. So let's get into this, man. This is what y'all been waiting on. I know this is going to be unpopular. But I'm going to do it anyway. Right? Because I've been watching Larry Borum tape for weeks. right? I'm not going to jump all into it all tonight. I'm not showing and breaking down all the footage today. I took a small sample size, and I'm gonna admit before we get into it, I chose the bad stuff, mostly the bad stuff, because it makes my point. Because here's the thing: we all want to, dismiss it and say, "Hey, we're gonna run off to the races. We're gonna diss the guy. We're gonna, credit him with being an All-Pro. We're gonna credit him with being a world beater because he played against Bosa and Watts." But I never doubted what my eyes were telling me during the season as I watched him. In that particular offense we had, the dude got a lot of help, man. And I'm not comfortable with saying this is our guy going into the season. I'm not okay with it. But I'll let y'all watch the film, right? And we'll come back and we can debate it in a second. But before that, we do that. And when we come back, let's go into the DMs. Let's get some of y'all comments after we watch the film. But let's jump into it.
Before I get started, I want to let you know you're going to see the good, the bad, the ugly for Larry Borum on this All-22 film footage. I think what you're going to come away with after looking at the film is, he's inconclusive. And one of the major points I want to make about Larry Borum's play that people don't pay attention to is, and not in this case, but in a lot of Larry Borum's play or in his plays, he gets a lot of help out here from tight ends on, help from tight ends or perhaps running back. But I did want to point out some film footage where he didn't get any help. I wanted to focus on some of those and how he performs when he doesn't get help. So Coach T just not here arguing his own points, making his own points, but I actually try and argue against my own takes to get ahead of some of you clowns that like to debunk or debate things I say. So yeah, he gets a lot of help, but you'll see here in this case against Minnesota where he gets a rep one-on-one. If you see his feet, man, sometimes his feet look good. Sometimes his feet look good and light. Of course, he's going to look good in slow motion here, right? He's going to look like he's fleet of foot in slow motion. But if you watch live reps, a lot of times late in games, he labors a little bit in getting his feet moving and under him, right? And one of the things that I'm critical, or I'll be critical of Larry on, is he doesn't play with balance, right? So a lot of times you're going to see a lot of bending and reaching forward, leaning forward and reaching, right? So his eyes are over his toes in this situation, right? His eyes will be over his toes or in front of his toes, meaning he's leaning at the waist, right? And he'll get his hands out in front of him. He'll get his hands out in front of him and he'll get his hands premature, and it'll allow for defenders to do a swipe move on his hands and get on top of him. So here's a good rep. Let's clear this up. Go back. Here's a good rep. Gets out on his kick. Gets off on a snap count, right? That's an advantage of offensive lineman. He gets into his set, get into his kick. That's 2, 3, right? Now, see right there. Watch when he starts to lean. You don't have to lean, and he shouldn't be leaning right there, right? He should sit back in a chair. He should be sitting back in a chair. He should be more erect right there, right? He should be more erect, sit back in a chair, and be patient with his punch, right? But he starts leaning. So you see right there, he's bent at the waist. And against better pass rusher, and an example later, you're going to see him get killed with that same technique. Right here, he wins the rep, but we're paying attention to the details, right? So I'll take the win, ball's out, right? I'll take the win on the rep, but let's take a look at another rep where he gets beat. Apologize in advance for this graphic being a little messed up, but this is the rep I'm talking about. It's an example of what we're saying when Larry gets over his feet. So let's take a look. Let's break down the rep. All right, snap of the ball. He gets off in the stance. He's late on his kick, first of all, right? His feet are kind of lazy right now. This is probably later in the game, right? A few reps under his belt. Feet are starting to get a little heavy, or he's unsure. He gets off late. But right here, right there, you'll see. Check his reps. So he's always, when he gets close to contact, he's always leaning to brace for contact, right? You see him bending at the waist right there. So I need him to sit back in the chair and be more Erect, right? Sit back in the chair. Chest up in the air, hands out, and it's like you're sitting in a chair and you're bracing from that contact, sitting back in the chair. But he leans at the waist to brace for the contact. Hands go out, eyes over the toes, right? So now his eyes over his toes because he's leaning. Eyes over his toes now, so his hands are gonna go out. Now you have an imbalance. You're leaning forward with an imbalance, and watch what a good defender does to him right here. You're leaning forward, hands out, just goes with a double chop, right? And works with his momentum. And he gets, you know what I'm saying? He gets the old Toro, right? Rodeo move. Double chop down, gives him the old Olay, and he's right past him, right? This is kind of what concerns me about when Larry Borum's on the island in pass protection by himself, right? He gets the leaning. See the lean first. Watch the setup. Lean first. The brace for the contact. Hands up. So if he sits back in the chair, again, if he sits back in the chair and he's patient with his punch, he can counter this move, or he doesn't give the defender something to work with. He's giving this away. So the defender must have seen this on film, knows he can come with a double chop. He's leaning for a double chop. Boom. Gets beat. Not good. But I think they started to allow Larry to do a little bit more one-on-ones instead of giving him a whole lot of help so they can get him accustomed to the one-on-ones. But here again, watch Larry's habit. So I've already identified his habit is when he comes close to contact, right? His feet are 50-50. Either you're going to get it, he's going to kick and be in the right spot when he should be, or he's not, depending on the play. So here, the defender gives him a little shake and bake move right there, right? So Larry's a little bit unsure. If you know you have a body to the inside right here, you know the likelihood of him being able to go inside is, few and far between or nil. So what you have to do is go ahead and set up deeper. Go ahead and set up with the deep setup, knowing he doesn't have the space inside to do an inside move. So go ahead and get back here to this spot back here, right? And force him to do the inside move because you know you have bodies eating up space on the inside. So he doesn't do that here, right? He goes for the little shake and bake. So now his feet will get crossed up. He's off balance. But again, I want you to pay attention to preparation for contact. You lean forward and reach. Reaching is bad news in offensive line play. Look how far his hands are extended out. He's off balance, eyes over his toes. He's not sitting back in the chair ready to punch. He's reaching out. You don't reach for defenders. Those guys study and have a plethora of defensive line moves to eat you alive if you're out here reaching for face mask and pass. His hands should be into his rib cage, ready to power punch, one hand punch, right? Single punch or double hand punch, but he's reaching, eyes over his toes. He's out of position. This is not good. Well, coach, all you're doing is showing the bad plays. All right, I'll show you some of the better plays or more decent plays that he has in a run game at least, and show you what it looks like once he gets off, right? Sorry about the footage, the film footage. But, when his hands are right and he can get his hands on people the right way in good position against lesser talent, you know what I'm saying? He does good. He does pretty good against less athletic guys. But again, it's not good technique, fundamentals. Even on the wins, the technique is not sound. And so it may be a talent thing, right? You may have a less athletic, less talented guy, or he wins his fair share of plays. But if PFF is grading this thing, I don't know what they're grading, because anybody that's coached the position, played the position, they know that this technique is not sound and solid in a lot of situations, right? But I'll take the wins when we get them. Probably less athletic guy right here. Could have got hit with holding, right? Because he's on the outside, not the inside. Hell, NFL, they probably could call holding every play. I don't know what they're looking at most of the time, but Here's a successful play where they run behind him against Minnesota. Guard leads up in the hole. He gets his hands on this guy, and he dominates him. So there are plays out here he dominates in the running game specifically. So a lot of people are like, well, you know what I'm saying? Maybe Larry's a better guard. Maybe he's a better guard. Listen, if you just have bad fundamentals, right? You're not quick enough. And I think the weight loss may help with this. I don't know. So, you know what I'm saying? Take it for what it's worth. I don't know. The weight loss may help with this. But if you're not quick enough, you don't have good feet, right? Quick enough feet. And your hands, you don't have feet, hips, hands, right? So watch this. Maybe Larry, you know, again, my pundits will say, maybe Larry's better at guard. He's better at guard. Again, watch the get off. So this is the kind of play, even though he's at tackle right here, this is the kind of play that he would have to make at guard, right? He would have to make this reach block and get over to this guy, right? So other people can pull behind him, or even him being the puller himself, his feet have to be quick enough to, you know what I'm saying, get around the edge and if he's the puller himself. But watch this reach block that he attempts to make right here and tell me what the problem is, right? So let's clear this up. Let's watch the reach block. Let's see if he gets there. Is the problem his feet or his hands? You can't allow this guy to get penetration right here because he's your guy. Is the problem his feet or his hands? You don't even have a foot in the ground yet, and you're going to hands. That first step, first of all, it's a bad angle. Watch that left foot. Watch that left foot. It's a bad angle, but because you're out of position, your feet ain't in the ground quick enough. Now I got to go to reaching. Could have been a potential hole. Look, hands to the face. Again, man, this is not the guy. He might be a good holdover guy. We'll see what happens with the weight loss. But right now, everybody can be, you know, they can debate with me on Bears Twitter all you want. But going into the season, I'm not going into the season comfortable that this is going to be our starting right tackle. No way. Ain't no way. We're not going to be able to play championship football like this. We'll be able to do all right, but this is not it. Another play of leaning. I apologize again. I'm getting used to this MacBook Pro I just got, so y'all going to get a little bit of this dirty film footage. But, you know what I'm saying, we're men, suck it up. We'll get over it. I'll get better, and we'll be all right. But I want you to see right here, again, what happens when he's about to brace for contact. Watch Larry, man. I can't make this stuff up, bro. You can argue with your mama. I don't care. When he's about to get contact, bro, you see every time. When he's about to brace for contact, there's the bending of the hips and leaning forward. You're supposed to sit back in the chair. And this is probably a good angle to point this out, right? He should be more erect and sitting back like in a chair. So let's clear this up. If this is the back of the chair, sit back in the chair, elbows to the inside, patient with your punch, right? When that guy gets within your power position, let him get off his move first, right? Whether he's going to come with an over chop or rip chop, whatever first move and counter move he's coming with, make him wait on his first move, and then you try to KO him with your first punch, whether it's one hand or two hand. But sit back in the damn chair and then allow yourself to get into his breastplate. But these guys are beating him with single arm, post, and rip moves, right? Because he's leaning to brace for contact. Eyes over his toes. This is a perfect example. Look where his eyes are compared to his toes. So if this guy would have double chopped too, he would have potentially fell on his face. This is what I'm talking about. Right, so he gets whiff right here. Forces the quarterback to come out in the pocket. That is not a win. PFF probably scores that of the win, but Coach T ain't doing it. They can go take that to somewhere else.
And it's like that. We back, man. So listen, that's a small sample size. I don't expect to win, the Bears universe over with just small sample size of just video there on Larry Borum. But again, I've been watching the tape for over like 2 or 3 weeks, a period of 2 or 3 weeks. I watched the San Francisco game. I watched the Pittsburgh game, right? And that's when it started for me, right? That's when it started. I was like, hold on a second. Everybody's going crazy and a little bit too comfortable with Larry being the starter for this upcoming season and this new season. And I knew with my eyes, again, I don't watch the game the same as others, bro. I actually watch O-line play during the game, right? I watch defensive front play during the game. I watch coverages during the game, right? Because I'm always looking to steal stuff, especially on the offensive side, because I got my little notebook. If I see something I like, I'm going to write it down. I'm like, man, I like that play, right? And I might go back and record while the game is playing and draw out a play and draw out, what concept it came from and all this other stuff. So, it doesn't make sense to me. So as I was watching the game throughout the season, watching the games throughout the seasons, I was seeing he was getting a lot of help, right? Especially in the Pittsburgh game. He totally got game plan, or Matt Nagy and Bill Lazor totally game plan TJ Watt out of that game. He didn't do a whole lot. Go back and watch the film, right? Larry Borum did not do a lot that whole game. They were either running away from him, right? They were play actioning away from him or booting away from him. They were running away from him, or they just ran the ball to his side. They ran a lot of zone read towards TJ Watt, which would help Larry Borum out because he doesn't have to block him one-on-one. Same with the Joey Bosa tape. If I'm an offensive coordinator and it worked in one situation, so if I game plan Joey Bosa out of the game, I'm going to recycle that game plan and use it against TJ Watt. Coaching is not like what people make it out to be. It's a lot of the recycling of game plans. If something works for a similar type player, you just recycle that game and you put it out there again. So I wasn't overly impressed, and that's what made me look, because I'm like, bro, now we're going to get into it. Let me jump into these DMs real fast, because a lot of stuff I'm about to say, you guys are speaking to, and I want to address those. So let's hit
goes down in the DM. It go down in the DM. It go.
All right, we back. Y'all know the deal with that, man. I'm not going to hit that too long because y'all know y'all boys over at YouTube going to flag me. And we can't be getting flagged out there, bro. So let's get these comments up, man. Let me address and talk about some of this stuff. Ryan Poles told us what his plan was, my boy Baki. Shout out to Baki for being one of the moderators in there too. Told us what his plan was from day one. That's why I'm not mad or surprised by the signings. Baki, you're exactly right, man. And I think here's the thing. It's just taking some time for a lot of us Bears fans, right? I'm going to include myself in that. It's taking a lot of time for us Bears fans to understand this philosophy, because we've never had a GM come in and say, I'm going to establish a system along with my coaching staff. So I know enough about football to know the style of play that fits this city, this mentality of this city, hard-nosed, tough, fast, physical football. And I'm going to hire a coach that plays that style, top to bottom, right? Think about it. Now, granted, the McCaskies might not know a lot about football, but shout out them for hiring a guy that knows about football. So let me sign a GM. I got a GM that knows football. The GM knows the mentality of the city. Hey, I'm an offensive lineman GM. I know when I play football, cold weather, I'm not going to be able to toss football all over the yard. If I don't have a solid running game, if I don't have a fast, physical style running game, and I'm sorry, I don't like zone as a primary concept for physical football. That's just me, my personal preference. In the coaching circles, there's a big debate. It's always a debate. Are you a zone guy? You're a gap power guy. Give me gap power any day, right? I want to be able to line up in the line of scrimmage. And when I install my gap power system, when I tell my players this, I want you to be able to walk up to the line of scrimmage and tell the defense where we're running the ball, right? And them not be able to stop it. That's the mentality. So we get a GM that knows football, hires a coach that wants to play a particular style and brand of football. That's your system on both offense and defense, and you draft guys to fix that. That's it in a nutshell. And it's taking players, it's taking fans time to catch on to that because we're used to having a guy that's, I don't know where he came from, right? In the front office, the GM position, right? And he's just an executive. He couldn't tell you a 6 hole from cover 6, right? From his own 6 hole, right? And then he's making decisions on player personnel, and there's no connection with the coach, the scheme, the system, none of that, right? It's a disconnect somewhere because his emotions will always get involved, and he's always going to sign a guy. Well, he was just a good guy to sign. He's a fan favorite, right? We're getting out of that. So it's taking fans a while to catch on. That's the take, right? Who we got next? Oh, I just took somebody off the comment. Man, I missed that. All right, I hate I did that. Mule said Larry is not a guard. He's gonna make if he's gonna make it, it's gonna be a tackle. And I agree with Mule 100%. Right? I hear a lot of that too, man. Why don't we just listen? This is a pet peeve of mine, so I'm gonna talk about it for a minute. Why don't we talk about interchanging offensive linemen like they don't have a specific skill set, right? They just plug and play players, right? You can just plug an offensive lineman in, and he's playing. All he has to do is be big and nasty, right? No, these guys have specific skill sets, right? It was the reason why I said I didn't want the center from LA, Brian Allen. Brian Allen. Everybody was like, oh, sign Brian Allen free. I don't want Brian Allen as my center because I did a video previous to this saying I'm thinking we're going to run gap power, right? If I'm running gap power, I don't want a center that's light in the behind that can be moved off the point of contact easily. If your center gets pushed back in the backfield in the gap power system, then your guards, tackles, tight ends, they can't pull behind them. It's going to blow up the whole play, right? So we needed a bigger, more stout guy, and we got one. Who else said that? My guy. Swifty says technique can be fixed with good coaching. I will agree and disagree with Swifty on this one, right? I'm going to agree with you saying, yeah, technique can be fixed with good coaching. However, the question is, with this offensive staff, right, with this GM and with this staff and the expectations of this city, right, how much time are we going to give ourselves? And this is a question for all of us as fans, right? How much time realistically are we going to give this GM and this staff time to get on the cycle of developing players, right? Because it's going to take time. As Swifty mentioned, Larry Borum was a 5th rounder, right? So if you have a system that's designed to develop talent, you're not expecting really to develop that guy year 1. What are you going to get, an offseason and a training camp, and you're going to expect that guy to be ready? I'm expecting a 5th rounder to perhaps be ready year 2, right? So, yeah, Larry got thrown in the fire, but my expectation with Justin at quarterback, somebody I know that can make all the throws. He can not only make all the throws, right? Deep outer thirds, deep middle thirds, intermediate throws. He can make the screen throws. He can make the throws with touch. He can do all that, right? I've seen him. I did a breakdown video where I said he can throw against all coverage. I've seen him throw against cover 2 zone, cover 2 man coverage, cover 3. My only criticism of Justin is Justin doesn't switch up the snap count. He doesn't see blitzes when they're coming, right? So he goes on the first count every play. And because he does that, defensive linemen can time his snap count. They can time, and blitzers can time his snap count. They can get off the ball and get to him fast. Justin has to switch up his snap count, right? So he can help reveal blitzes when they're coming. So if I go hard count on 2 or 3, said right? Give you a hard count on the first count. Think Aaron Rodgers. Think how Aaron Rodgers manipulates the snap count. He gets guys to jump, right? He gets them. He uses snap count to his advantage, getting guys to jump and getting guys to reveal where the blitz is coming from. So he's either going to do one or two things. He's going to get a 5-yard, 10-yard, 5-yard penalty for you jumping off sides, or he's going to get a free play. Justin has to add that to his repertoire, and he'll be fine. But again, this is all part of it, man. So Larry, in Larry's cases, I expected him to be a year 2 guy, year 3 development guy. But how long is it gonna take us as fans to get accustomed to the cycle that it takes to develop young guys? Remember, this system is gonna be, if we're talking about developing players, we're gonna be developing a lot of 3rd, 4th, and 5th rounders, or even later players, right? Giving them a year to come in and learn their jobs. And once they learn their jobs, then they're going to become a household name. And we're going to be like, oh, yeah, that guy was great all along when he came out of the 5th round, when it's really the system that made him a star. Remember, go back to my last video. The system is the star. Remember, Coach said that. The system is the star. I'm getting excited about that. Y'all can tell, right? All right. So I think that's it for the DMs. I missed somebody's comment. I actually took it out. I deleted it. My bad on that, man. I'll get to you next time. But it was a very good comment. If I see it, I'm going to circle back around to it. But that's the deal, man. The system is the star. I'm not confident in Larry being the day one guy. I like that he's gotten a year under his belt, at least to get the experience. But it's totally going to be up to him whether he's the day one starter going into the season or not. And I'm not confident based off of what I've seen. And the question you have to ask yourself with the weight loss, right, and with an off-season program, is that enough to get him and make him the guy going into next year? Is he going to get enough reps? I still say you draft a guy or sign a guy as an insurance policy that's going to be ready day one. Because, and why is this important? Why is it all this important in the big scheme of things? Why is this all important in the big scheme of things? Because I want to be able to block 5-man pro, right? I want to be able to block 5-man protection. Do me a favor, y'all. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Yo, follow me at Twitter, Bears360_Coach T. I want to be able to block 5-man pro. I want to be able to block 5-man pro. Why? Because if I can block with 5-man protection, then I can get my running back in the swing route. I can get all the eligible receivers out threatening the defensive backfield and occupying defenders. Remember, it's a numbers game, right? Offensive line is 5-man pro. That's 5 people. Quarterback, 6, right? If I occupy, or if I take up bodies to add to the protection plan, I'm putting myself at an offensive disadvantage. Watch the championship caliber football teams, right? They can stand up in 5-man protection. Either they're going 5-on-4, right? Right? So remember, go back to my video on Lucas Patrick where I broke down offensive line calls the center has to make, right? So you call out the mic so they'll know who blocking who. We got the 4 down in the mic. That's 5-on-5. You're accounting for 5 at all times on the offensive line. Our offensive line has to be able to block with 5-man protection. That's either 5-on-4, right? That's either 5-on-4 or 5-on-5. So if a defense has 4 down linemen, right, and they're not sending a blitzer in a regular, normal, just think of any pass play. 4 down linemen rushing. 4, that leaves 7 in the backfield. That leaves 7 in coverage. If I'm using additional blockers, the quarterback's already out of play. That's 1 man. So that's 6. If I use an additional blocker, now I got 7 guys that aren't eligible receivers. I got 7 guys in basically that aren't eligible receivers. So that only leaves me 4 to go against 7. Y'all see how football is a math game? So I want to block 5-man pro so I'd at least get 6 versus 7. 6 versus 7. Now, if I got a running quarterback, now it's really 7-on-7, right? So if you got a running quarterback like Justin, now it's fair. Now if I'm a defensive coordinator, I'm nervous. Because y'all can stand up in 5-man protection. That means now as a defensive coordinator, if you got 5 guys that can block up front with 5-man protection, now you get to flip the script. Because now as a defensive coordinator, I got to start thinking about sending bodies because my down 4 guy can't get there. My down 4 linemen, if they can't get pressure on the quarterback, now I got to start taking guys out of my defensive backfield protection plan. Now I got to start sending the Will, Sam, Mike, or I got to start bringing the safety down in the box, which if you do that and I got speed, I'm going to eat your behind alive, right? I got to start thinking about that stuff. So I think if you think about how we played football last year, we really didn't play good football from a just basic X's and O's standpoint, because now I saw a lot of 6, 7, and 8-man protections in Nagy's system. If you think about what the disadvantage that put us at, if I got 8-man protection off a play action play, right? 8-man protection. The quarterback is 9. I got a 2 wide receiver route. 2 wide receiver route. 2 wide receivers versus 6 guys in the backfield. How am I going to get a guy open? You know what they usually run with that 2 wide receiver route? You're going to run a go route, which I'll call a go route, what I call a 9 route. Y'all going to run a go route and a drag across the middle route, some kind of a go and cross, right? That's typically the play you have. That's very few options you have when you have to go 8, 7, 6. You can't do anything in that. It's not fun football to watch. Soapbox moment. Y'all know how I like to get into the X's and O's. If you can visualize what I was just saying, man, give me a shout out in the comments, bro. If you can visualize the crap I'm talking about, if you keeping up what I'm talking about, you've been around the channel, give me a shout out in the comments, bro. Y'all know we be breaking down these X's and O's. Do me a favor, man. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, man. Follow me on Twitter, Bears360_Coach T, man. We're having fun here. I ain't done this in a while, bro. It's been a week. I missed y'all, bro. I missed this. I needed time to miss it, man. It's a lot of damn work. Y'all don't hear me cuss often, bro. I just felt that. All right. So let's go. One more comment I wanted to hit on, man, because it got into the X's and O's of things, bro. And I wanted to talk about this, right? This hit me on Twitter. It got my attention. So I wanted to say something about it, right? I think this is Bears Nation, Bears Network. Y'all recognize the emblem. I think it's Bears Nation. Shout out to him, man. Listen, I'm always doing. If you putting in a good work out there, bro, I'm always give you props, right? I'm always gonna, support you, bro. I just don't get into the conjecture and debate stuff, man. If that gets toxic, bro, I just don't do that. I don't have time for it, man. But anyway, I want to give a shout out right here, man, because he says a handful of guys can be deployed a bunch of different ways in spots to be important in building this defense. Sure, it's going to look different without Mac Hicks up front, but loading up versatility on the back end is a nice look for the D and moving forward, right? I wanted to highlight this comment for a reason, right? Because he helped out and start a conversation about my pet peeves that I have about coaching terminology. And he spoke to another thing about how we're building the defense. As I mentioned before, we're getting guys that do specific jobs, right? They do specific jobs. So the versatility allows us to go and granularize. So I'm going to fix y'all's terminology right now, right? And I'm going to fix it for free, especially for y'all Bears DIY media that follow me on the sneak, on the low key, and don't give me no shout outs. Like I give y'all, it's okay. But I'm going to fix y'all terminology, and I won't even charge y'all for it. So it goes like this. You have your base defense, right? You have a 4-3-3-4, whatever, right? You have your sub packages, right? Your sub packages are like nickel, dime, whatever, et cetera, right? Now, underneath all that is when you can use the term scheme, right? Is when you can use the term scheme. You have your base defense, your alignments, your sub packages, which is another form of the sub packages. And then underneath that is when you use scheme. Scheme is how you manipulate and how you use certain personnel. So actually, scheme is going to be a better way of fitting what we're going to be doing more of in Chicago. Because again, we're having a system where the system is the star. Put system in the stars in the comments. Put system is the star in the comments. The system is the star, so now we actually can start talking about scheme because we're going to have a scheme. A scheme is taking a guy like Dane Cruikshank. I want to get his name right. A scheme, technically, is taking a guy like Dane Cruikshank, where, say I'm running a base 4-3, and I'll take a guy like Dane Cruikshank. Say he's not my starting safety with Eddie Jackson, but I have him on the team. He has a special skill set. I know a team likes to go on 3rd and long, 3rd and 8 or more, 3rd and 7 or more. They like to go and get the ball to the tight end, right? So I'll run my regular personnel, but I'll bring Dane Cruikshank in the game, and I'll put him at the linebacker and go man coverage and say, Dane, you lock down that tight end, right? We're going man, right? We're gonna go black, or if I'm Chicago, it's blue or orange. We're gonna go blue. Say blue is base 4-3, cover 1, blue orange man, right? I'm gonna put Dane in the game. Say, hey, you got Kelsey, you got Kittles. Don't let them catch the ball. They're going to him. It's 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 5. They need a first down. You got them locked up, right? I have my base personnel in the game still, but I'm taking a Will, a Mike out. I'm putting a safety on him because I need a guy that's big enough. I'm not going to bring Tavon Young in. He's going to be too small to cover the tight end. So I'm matching up personnel. I'm matching up skill sets and abilities. That's scheme. So base alignments, sub packages, and schemes. Educate the people y'all be arguing with, so I don't have to say that again. Do me a favor, right? Base, sub packages, scheme is down there. Scheme is when you're getting into the nuances of what happens with that, man. So I hope y'all got it, man. Listen, in Chicago, the system is the star, man. Stop looking for star players. The system is the star. If y'all like the system is the star, do me a favor, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We finna get out of here. Soon as we address this one more thing, the one more thing is, y'all got it. It's back. The segment is back. We got the drunk uncle.
Anything is possible, got feelings in my cup.
All right, enough of that, man. Shout out to my son with the track. He also did the intro track, by the way. Just released a new video. He killing the game. Hey, so y'all know what the Drunk Uncle segment is all about. The Drunk Uncle segment is my way of ranting. It's my way of debating. It's my way of getting back at some of the crazy stuff I see on Bears, Twitter, social media, whatever. The Drunk Uncles actually started because I thought about the Bears beat writers that sit in the beat writer room. All except for Herb Howard. I like Herb Howard. Herb really be on his football game. He actually has the terminology down. I actually like him. But the rest of them cats, they're a bunch of drunk uncles, bro. They try and gatekeep information and all kinds of stuff, man. Those dudes, yeah, it's beef. Anyway, them the drunk uncles. This is my drunk uncle take of the week, bro. You guys talking about Cole Kmet? Yeah. Everybody that's talking about Cole Kmet being this, that, anything other than a good football player, you get the whole Drunk Uncle of the Week award, and I'm going to tell you why in X and O's terminology. It goes back to what I was just talking about with O-line play. Do me a favor. Go look up Cole Kmet's stats. You should have had about 600 to 800 yards, right, for the year. Do me a favor. Go back and watch the film and see how much time Cole Kmet spent in pass protection, helping out our sorry offensive line, helping out Larry Borum, helping out Tevin Jenkins. He spent a lot of times in pass pro, right? If we can get him in the pass concepts or the pass route, at least half the time that he spent this year in pass protection, watch his numbers go through the roof. Watch his numbers go through the roof. It's a lot. It's a lot to be a tight end in the NFL. I'm telling you, one of the most undervalued positions in the NFL is tight end. It's highway robbery. You got to be able to block. You got to be able to run with the ball. You got to be able to catch the ball. You got to be able to do so many things at the position of tight ends. If you can just bring or get Cole Kmet in the pass concepts, half the reps that he spent blocking in the Nagy system. See, this is why me and the stat guys get into it. Because again, you don't see the film, bro. You don't break it down. I'm watching this is not stuff I gotta go back and look at. I'm seeing it as I'm watching the game. I'm like, man, why isn't Cole catching more balls? Oh, damn. Cole is in pass pro 50% of the pass plays. He's in pass protection 50% of the pass plays. So if I can cut that in half, and get Cole in the pass patterns at least 25% more of the plays, and he already had, I want to say, 700 or 800 yards. Somebody correct me on that. 7, it's somewhere between 600 and 800 yards. If I can get Cole in the pass patterns, 25% more of the plays, imagine 600 goes to 800. If it's 800, it goes to 1,000. So y'all get the Drunk Uncle Award because y'all not seeing the film, y'all not doing the work, and you want to be down on a guy. He's not, bro. Cole can be a dog. He can be a dog. He can be an 800 to 1,000-yard receiver or tight end every year. I think his sweet spot is going to be like 800 yards, 850. A great season for him is going to be right under or just shy of 1,000 yards. But Cole could be an 800-yard a year guy. But remember, it starts with the pass pro. This is why I'm starting to grade the offensive linemen a lot tougher now, because y'all messing with my team now. Y'all affecting other arguments now. So I'm gonna grade the offensive line with. I'm gonna do next is Tevin Jenkins. I'm gonna do Tevin Jenkins next because everybody finna get this smoke. Because I need another. Listen, Tevin was my pre-draft guy last year. I said, if we get this guy, we're going to be in position on making the right move for the next guy. But coming off of an injury, a back injury at that, having lost a lot of strength, you're back in the you got to prove it category with me. And you affect guys like Cole Kmet. Right? You affect guys' numbers. Cole can't get the numbers. So there's the take, man. There's it for the Drunk Uncles, bro. Listen, man, everybody out there, if you're watching the show later on a replay, do me a favor, man. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I need y'all to subscribe, man. Let's get over 1,000 subscribers. Let's run this up before the season. I'm going to Sundays only. Sundays, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12 Central. Why? Because when we go into the season, I'm going to do the live Chicago Bears 360 broadcast during the game. And I want y'all to see the game how I see it. Because now I'm going to start talking about this stuff during the game. And I'm going to show y'all I'm seeing it while it's happening. So we're going to keep this same time and go straight into the season. So I need to run us up over 1,000 subscribers before we get there. And we can go in the game, and we can have a good season, man. I appreciate y'all for joining the channel. We're almost at an hour and a half, man, so let me get out of here. Like I said, man, shout out to the field soldiers. Thanks for joining, man. And I'm going to see y'all next Sunday. Coach T, I'm out.